Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the SanDisk SHOUTCraft Invitational, and if we do have anyone from South Korea tuned in, as we had over 15,000 of you tune in yesterday to this stream, one, 안녕하세요, which is probably terrible, and secondly, we've got the Axiom South Korean stream running right now over at twitch.tv/crank, so if you are looking for a South Korean cast, the Axiom players are all casting over at twitch.tv/crank.
Yeah, I'm sure that is absolutely amazing. Kind of a Korean home story cup for you this weekend.
Kind of is, you know.
If you speak Korean, I'm sure you're going to want to check that out.
Certainly. I don't think there's as much drinking, I'm going to be honest. There's definitely not as much swearing. I would not accept that in my house.
I hope not. It's not even 9 a.m. over here. I hope there's not as much drinking going on. But you know, I'm sure that's a lot of fun. If you speak Korean at all, go and check them out. You can watch me in TotalBiscuit cast all the time, but watching Crank and the Boys cast, that's something I think you probably don't see nearly as often.
No, you certainly do not. I don't think we'd really do a home story cup in the Axiom team house. We'd get maybe 3 players in there, then it'd be like, well, we're out of capacity, we can't do anything.
Yeah, apartments in Korea are pretty small, whereas I don't know how Tate has such a big place. It's actually gigantic.
Yes, he has the benefit of living in Europe, so I suppose that certainly helps. But you can't be doing that in Seoul. They really pack him in over there. There's no real doubt about that.
Yeah, it's, I know all about those things. I've lived in a shoebox for many, many years.
Indeed. All right, the next match coming up right here. KT Rolster Zest, 2-time GSL champion, and I believe the only person to pull that off in 1 month, because of course his other title is the GSL Global Tournament. Versus CJ
really
Bbyong.
Impressive. Oh man, this match is crazy. It could absolutely be the finals. You know, the list of things that these guys have done recently that are impressive is like too long to go on about. Bbyong, as we were talking about before, with like the best Pro League record percentage-wise, Zest being a Royal Roader and a double champion, and I mean, they're just both so crazy good, man. Like these are the guys to watch right now. These are the new rising guns for these 2 races.
Yeah, best of the best. Zest certainly best of the best. He's proved it time and again. He continues to prove it. He is not one of those players that just goes down after 1 GSL. He continues to just blaze a trail. Slash and burn there for Zest. You know, there's villagers burning in his wake, children crying, there's the occasional dog just wandering around looking really confused. Has any idea what's going on. You can't really explain to that dog, that guy's Zest, you want to stay away from him.
No, the dog, if he can't sense it, he's screwed already. And Bbyong, you know, last season we only had 3 Terrans in Code S, and this season just 4. Bbyong was in both of those. So this guy is solid, he's the real deal, and he never gets the love that he deserves. It eats me up inside that he doesn't have 1 million fans right now.
And he should. His Terran is that good. In an era where Terrans struggle against Protoss, nobody bothered to tell Bbyong that.
Yeah. That's a very good way of putting it. Like, Bbyong doesn't see any imbalance. He's doing the best out of everyone in the world in the hardest team league in the world. So, I mean, he'll show you how to play Terran and win right now.
Oh yeah, that he is. And he's going to show us, to start with, here on Waystation. Not a map we've really had the opportunity to see a huge amount of, actually. I believe it was actually voted every time yesterday. Give or take.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember a single match on this map.
Pro gamers hate this map, so I mean, whatever.
All right then. Well, let's see how these pro gamers will do. And I like to appreciate the fact that they have elected to break out of their shackles and pick different colors. This is not something they really get to do in Pro League, so they're just enjoying the newfound freedom, at least for a while here. Because of course, in the stylish light blue neon trunks to the northwest position here of Waystation, the double and reigning GSL champion, Royal Roader, playing Protoss, he's KT Rolster Zest.
And in the bottom right of our map, the Terran Phenom in the bright orange surfer shorts. It is CJ Bbyong. I love that orange, by the way. That just looks great.
That might be the best color in StarCraft, as far as I'm concerned.
Seriously, those SCVs are just vibrant.
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
Works for all races in particular. I love to see Zerg with that orange. Those glowing orange banelings in Game Heart. Oh, why would you not want that?
Well, you know, let's jump back and talk about the map for a minute here, because I don't know about you, but like, as a commentator and a fan of StarCraft, I love watching games on Waystation. I get excited every time we get to see Waystation, whereas we don't get to see it that much because pro gamers don't really care for it.
No. We have seen pro gamers in particular are very resistant to new types of maps. I remember back with the Red Bull Battlegrounds New York, which introduced Habitation Station to the world, and we saw Blizzard say, hey, that looks pretty good, let's include it in the WCS pool. I spoke to several Protoss players, Protoss pro gamers, and they said this: we will never win ever again on this map against Zerg. It is never going to happen.
Well, truth be told, pro gamers are a little bit over the top when they talk about balance.
Just a little.
Yeah, and then they get angry if they get called out on that, but it is the case. They are a bit over the top. You can really figure out how to play on all sorts of different maps. StarCraft is by no means completely figured out yet.
No, it certainly is not. And map variety is great for the viewer, in my opinion. And it also allows for some players that perhaps were just not doing that well in the current meta to maybe excel with a little bit of creativity. And it's great not to have to see the same faces over and over and over again, playing the same builds over and over again.
Very true about that. I love seeing these new guys rise up and these new maps for them to fight on. Like, look at how ridiculously big this map is in these spots. It's so silly how big this is. It's so silly that Bbyong has gone for a command center first. No way for Zest to punish that. Of course, he's going for a very fast Nexus. And, I mean, this will probably turn into a giant macro game, but we don't really know.
No, we don't. And the crazy thing about Waystation, of course, is that if you end up in the different spawn positions, it's an entirely different game. And more so than any other map.
Oh, definitely. It's really two maps in one where you don't know which one you're getting as you start it up.
Yeah.
which is actually why pro gamers hate it, I think. Not the fact that it's so long in one spot and so close in another, just the fact that it's really hard to prepare to play here.
Yeah, there was a really awful map in the last, I think it was last season or maybe the season before's pool that I ended up vetoing almost immediately, because at one particular angle, it had the most far away exposed natural expansion in the history of anything. I'm trying to remember what it was. What was it called? Man, I must have scrubbed it from my memory. That's a bit of post-traumatic stress syndrome going on there.
It's better that way. It'll come back to you in a couple years. Just like, I just recently remembered the map Jungle Basin.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
It was so scarring back then. Yeah, I know, right? But it was like erased from my memory for the longest time.
Slag pits, man. Slag pits.
Oh god, slag pits. No! It's too soon. Why did you remind me of slag pits?
Suffering is best when shared, Artosis.
Oh my, well, there's going to be some more suffering than you and I here. It looks like we're going to have a 4-gate blink coming out of Zest, and that scan...
Perfect.
Oh, it sees 4 gates.
It does. All of them.
It doesn't see the blink, but, I mean, you see 4 gates here. I think you can probably guess with 2 gases and 4 gates that this is going to be blink.
Yeah, and you can even look at little things like whether or not there is Chrono Boost into that Cybercore, for instance, for Warp Gate, which there isn't. And there's no Chrono Boost on the Nexus either, so you got to think, all right, well, where's that Chrono Boost going? So he must be thinking about that, and yeah, it's such a good build. Why would you not assume that it was a possibility? What do you think about this map for 4-gate blink, though?
I think Zest is saying this map is too big. I don't really want to play a super long game here. It's going to be hard to cover everything, so... Hey, I mean, that's a really strong build. I don't know if this is the best map for it. I haven't seen it here in these spots yet. And when you look at it, it's like the ramp is so close to that edge. It's going to be really easy for Bbyong to get up and down. He's really going to need an excellent time warp, but his mothership core isn't even finished yet.
No, it's not. And it's going to take a while to get across this map in cross positions as well. And Zest just goes in, picks off a unit, gets out of there. As it stands, looking at this right now, this looks unbreakable. At least without You're going to have to bring sentries in, no doubt about that. You're going to need force fields to stop these bunkers from staying alive, and you're going to need that mothership core. And Zest is not even rolling out with it. Like, there's a Forge and a Robogun behind this. This is Zest either saying, I'm faking this, or I have decided this is not going to happen. Bbyong is clearly ready for this. Better start working on something else.
It's definitely the latter there. You know, you get scanned like this, you see him putting up the bunkers. It's like, well, am I going to kill Bbyong with this really? No, I guess it's time to transition. And that's going to give Bbyong a little lead. And by the way, if you look at what Bbyong chose to do the second he scanned that, he added 2 more Raxes instead of going up to a factory. So who needs medevacs? He's just going to have so many ground units, it's going to be crazy.
You know, I love that idea because it often allows a Terran player to hit before those key AoE techs are available for the Protoss. So it will be a mostly gateway force with maybe a little bit of Robo added in there versus just this giant wall of guns. And Bbyong in particular has gone pretty Marauder heavy with a 2-to-1 ratio. Slightly less now that Zest picked one of the Marines off, but concussive shells, bunch of Marauders, stim, +1, combat shields will be done by the time this hits. That is a sledgehammer.
Yeah, that's a really scary force right there. But the thing is, Zest already has an Immortal. He's going to easily have 2 out. He's got 5 sentries, more Blink Stalkers on the way. He is going to be able to pick this apart with good micro. So, Bbyong may be overcommitting a little bit here.
Sentries coming in, and there are the... this one Immortal round the back here. Bbyong has opened fire, but the Marauders are not really getting the connections that they need, and Zest just executes a really nice engagement. Hell, the Marauders were actually firing on the sentries, which, you know, usually you don't want anything firing at your sentries, but much better the Marauders were firing at them than the Stalkers, which would have melted so fast.
Indeed. You know, he killed off 3 sentries, sure, but overall, I say that definitely went better for Zest, and as you can see, Zest chasing him home.
He's
and without
setting
medevacs yet, god, these light units are going to die quite quickly.
Yep, he comes in with the flank from the side, brings a lot of Blink Stalkers in. Bbyong continues to fight, and it takes a toll, certainly. And perhaps he needed to do that. Oh man, he salvaged all his bunkers, and now he's regretting that. The SCVs are coming off the line here.
Well, he's stimming, running forward here, going after these Immortals, but this is way too much damage here from Zest. That's a beautiful time warp, some great blinks, and these SCVs are being massacred.
Yeah, but there is a decent amount of units behind this, and the SCVs have buffered a lot of it, and it's not like Zest's economy was incredible to begin with. He is certainly now ahead, and he's going to take a few more SCVs here by the looks of it, but Bbyong is trying to hang on. Zest with the aggressive blink in forward. No medevacs as of yet. Bbyong with the force at the top of the ramp is firing as best he can. He needs to take down the Zealot wall. He knows that, and then he can get at those oh-so-fragile Stalkers. Even with good blink micro, that is still a decent number of Marauders. There's a couple of medevacs that are about to finish, and Zest trying to focus that down, but stims down the ramp does Bbyong. Focuses down, a couple of sentries coming in from the side here. There's the quick lift. Bbyong just moving backwards. There's still too many blink Stalkers in the natural.
Yeah, the micro potential here for Zest is simply too high. Bbyong has a lot of units popping out, but can't do anything as more and more sentries come down. He's taking way too much damage in this natural, and realistically, he's going to have to say GG.
And this wasn't even the most super committed thing I've ever seen from a Protoss player. This started from a 4-gate blink in the potential transition. Bbyong gets really impetuous. Of course, there's the GG, but as we saw, Bbyong getting somewhat impetuous and going across the map, saying, you know what, I think I've got a really big army, but Zest sees it, picks at it, and then gets the perfect fight.
Yeah, he really did get the perfect fight with those 5 sentries. It was a good job. You know, Zest transitioned out just in time. Bbyong didn't think he would transition that quickly. Like, if this was more Stalkers, less sentries, and Immortals, he could have done a lot more there. But fantastic force fields and all that, and a quick loss for Bbyong, unfortunately. It's too bad, too, because I quite liked his build. I quite liked his ideas.
Yeah, it seemed like a good idea. He had so much to work with, and if he managed to get across the map without being picked down, without being slowed down, maybe if he'd managed to get across before a second Immortal had finished, for instance, or maybe if he was just able to knock at the door and get a better angle, but Zest got the fight that he wanted out of that.
Well, you know, it's too bad. If if Bbyong would have had like map hacks or something, seen what was up there that many centuries, no way he would have actually continued to move forward. He would have waited for those medevacs, and once he got like 4 medevacs out, he was going to have an army that absolutely wasn't going to be stopped like that. That would have been a deadly army indeed against the now century immortal Blink Stalker army that Zest had.
Indeed, the lack of information costs him there, and the plan does fall to pieces, but he still has a map to play with at least. He can attempt to bring it back to 1-1 here on King Sejong Station, which will be the next map in this best of 3 series. Will we see Zest crush through? Or will Bbyong be able to bring this back? He certainly has the potential to do it. He's done it time and again. He's beat Zest before, and he certainly can do it again.
Yeah, it's definitely doable, and we've seen some great maps here. In fact, this is the map, if I recall correctly, that he actually beat Zest on recently. I think so, yeah. This is the map where he went for the, like, 6 or 8 Hellions plus Marine drop against Zest and actually just got into his main base and fried his probes. So, I mean, Bbyong is no stranger to beating Zest here.
Yep, I think you may very well be right on that one. And I would love to see him be able to pull it back. He is of the caliber he needs to beat this GSL champion. But Zest in group stages, I mean, you saw it last night. It was ridiculous, and he could very easily pull that off again.
Yeah, Zest is probably the best player in the world right now, to be perfectly frank. I've been just studying him, rewatching all of his VODs. He's so enlightened about how to use Protoss and how to react to absolutely everything in the game. It's uncanny. He's like the new Rain. He's the new leveled up Rain.
Except he leaves his base before the 10-minute mark.
That's true. No, I mean, he's leveled up in every way.
Yeah, indeed.
It's the weirdest thing to have a player that's better than Rain, but it's happened.
Yep. He's learned what aggression truly means. King Sejong Station will be the venue for our next encounter. And before we go in, I would like to ask, as we noticed sort of as the battle was joined, that those bunkers were certainly no longer there. What do you think about salvaging the bunkers at that point? Was that actually an error from Bbyong, or was it a reasonable thing to do, bearing in mind the information that he had to hand?
I tell you, with what he had in hand and how many stalkers he should have thought his opponent had, I think it was fine to salvage them, to be perfectly honest. He had such macro going. He definitely had a bigger army. But, you know, he got caught with those force fields. When you lose that many units, yeah, you'd like the bunkers then, but not before then.
That's very true. All right, folks, here we go. The next map in this Best of 3 series is King Sejong Station. Zest taking on Bbyong, who will go on to face Dongray-gu, and who will fall down to take on Liquid Hero. We may find out on this very map. It could happen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to King Sejong Station, and it's my pleasure to introduce to you to the southeast position in the orange trunks. Playing Terran, I made up a name for him. I called him the Professional, for he is indeed a hitman. It's CJ Enters Bbyong.
Wow, I like that nickname. That was like my favorite movie as a kid.
Absolutely. So very good. They didn't actually call it the Professional in the UK. They used the alternative name over there.
Really?
They called it Leon.
Yeah, that's what they called it in Korea as well.
Yeah.
It was actually just released in Korea recently.
What, really? What?
It was in theaters for some reason recently. Like there was posters for it all over the city. But anyways, I don't know why that is, but in the top left of our map, I don't have a special nickname for him, but he plays a mighty fine Protoss. It is KT Rolster Zest.
I think GSL Champion's a pretty good nickname for anyone, really.
The Royal Roader himself. Yeah. It's like, I've been hemming and hawing with like calling him the perfect Protoss because he has like a decent amount of perfect games where I'm like, oh my god, you just can't have played this better. It was so nice, but
Blizzard called him the Kingslayer, oddly enough. That was what they called him in the article for his GSL Championship, based on the number of legends he took down in the process. That said, there have been a couple of other players that have also been called the Kingslayer. In fact, several of them being Protoss as well, so it's a bit of an overused name by this point.
Even Claris is called the Kingslayer, so Due to his haircut more than
Indeed,
anything, I
I'm
guess.
trying to think of the last thing that Kaleris slayed.
He's slayed he slayed the last cast he did, no doubt. Well, here we are, Reaper opening here for Bbyong.
Yep.
And Zest just with a double gas. We'll have to see what he goes for. You think it might be an Oracle?
It very well could be. It's usually a fairly safe bet against a Terran player in most circumstances. We've talked about this exposed natural, man. You know, it's very, very dangerous for anyone to really mine there. They should be getting hazard pay for mining from those minerals, I'll tell you that for a fact. I can't imagine any SCV wants to do that. But for an Oracle pilot, they just come in, they dice up a few SCVs, and then they just dash out again. Huge amount of void space over to the back there. And escaping with an Oracle is so easy.
It really is, and that's one of the reasons I really like Oracle on this map, but we'll see what Zest wants to do. He is getting his mothership core and a stalker out first, and of course that'll help to drive out any scouts that come in, such as this Reaper up on the side, and then he can choose which tech he wants to go for.
Alright, let's see how long Bbyong can keep this alive. I can't imagine Zest is going to let him have a single kill. No doubt about that. He is forced out. He may be able to dip back in later, however. Twilight Council again here for Zest, so we will not see Stargate. We may very well see Blink again.
Yeah, in fact, I think this is going to be an extremely aggressive one that we're going to see. We'll see if Bbyong can actually get a scout out on it. Kind of interesting, the strats that Zest is going for. He's decided to play today very aggressively.
Yeah, he's playing no nonsense. He wants it over with as quickly as possible. He wants to execute his opponents just as fast as he possibly can. He doesn't want to drag things out. And considering the caliber of play that he's going to have to go up against in the round of 4, if he makes it there, I don't necessarily blame him. I also like the idea that he would be using very similar builds and keeping some of his toolbox away for both, of course, the round of 8 of GSL and, of course, for the round of 4 of SanDisk SHOUTCraft, which will be best of 7, where you really need to bring everything to the table.
Oh, absolutely. And the fact that he might play against Flash, his own teammate, you know, may as well just show Blink all-ins. It'll throw Flash off a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, it could very well happen. We may see that. If Zest goes through in second place in this group, which, to be fair, if Game 1's anything to go by, I don't see happening, but if he goes through in second place, then he will face Flash.
Well, we'll see about that. DRG is looking good, so could be the case.
Yep.
Now, Zest trying to get out with this mothership core, but we have a nice flank here from Bbyong. He really wants to kill this off, but I don't know if he's going to be able to.
I don't think so. Not by the looks of it. Zest would have to make an uncharacteristic mistake. It is kind of annoying for the mothership core to be jammed into that corner. He can leave, but look at the positioning on this Widow Mine. This is like a sheepdog right here, just trying to get these sheep into the pen. And I don't know if Zest will fall for it. It's a bit of a gamble there from Bbyong, but he's keeping this mothership core back. But look at that. It's a proxy Dark Shrine from Zest. It is not a Blink build. Actually, it's a Blink build and a Dark Shrine. Protoss.
He really wants to end this one quickly. So he is going to start busting down these rocks. Soon enough, we will see DTs warped in. And the last thing that you're thinking about defending against when Blink Stalkers are trying to kill you is cloaked units. So kind of a smart move here by Zest, although very, very all in. He's really got to do some damage here.
Yep, and Bbyong is actually going for the drop, and there's a Widow Mine going down into that natural. Where is that mothership core? It's, of course, attacking. So Bbyong is in the base of his opponent, but Zest blinks right in and kills the Widow Mine immediately, stops the bunker from going up.
That is so painful. Zest can start blinking his Stalkers now during this stack. He's killing off so many SCVs, all these units as well. And this is kind of a crazy situation. He's still losing everything at home also.
Yeah, he didn't quite have his Dark Shrine up. I mean, warping in a defensive DT pretty much game overs that drop. Zest actually looking for the surround, but Bbyong with a quick pickup here. Can Bbyong hold on? This tank comes up and gets picked off. That's not what you want at all. If he could get that set up, that would be a different matter entirely. He did save his command center. He has 17 workers left. Zest lost quite a few as well, and this drop does continue, although not with many units.
Well, as soon as a DT warps in, I don't know what Bbyong is going to do. The DT Shrine is done, but we don't see that DT coming in. It looks like he has decided he can just win with Blink Stalkers, and you know what? I think he's actually right about that.
Yep, it's 4 workers to 16 at the moment. The drop is not dead, but it's kind of getting that way. But Bbyong doesn't really have much left to defend this. He is getting another tank out, though. And the DPS is going to be good. It spawns right on top of the Stalkers, which is not where you want to go because the blink is just so good here from Zest. Brilliant control here. More Marines come out. No Marauder, though. So this is really rough, especially with blink. Every unit counts here. But let's be frank. It's mules versus an actual economy. The drop is still going on, but there's only 1 Marine and a Widow Mine in it.
Yeah, and that's not quite enough, especially against this defensive Dark Templar. You know, the Blink Stalker and the Zealot are actually a little bit more scary than that. Bbyong can barely produce anything. 11 supply to 22. Zest doubling Bbyong's supply.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
How
some crazy
brutal
supplies.
is this? Like, this looked so one-sided, which you certainly do not expect, but there's a reason why Zest is a champion. There's no doubt about that. He is that good.
Bbyong may be one day, but Zest chose a very good build for this situation, and you know, it worked out well. The DT turned out to be a defensive tool, and it's done a good job. It's kept his mineral line alive and kept him in this game.
What a crazy, crazy game so far. It's 12 minutes in, and it's 15 supply versus 23. Bbyong is going in with 2 Hellions.
Well, 2 Hellions, those could definitely make a difference here. There's not a lot of units there. Just the Dark Templar. If he can dodge that, well, now a Stalker does come out, so that's going to make it a bit harder. But
yeah,
let's see if he can get anything.
Oh, Widow Mine goes off, but again, just doesn't quite get that massive jackpot hit that would have been needed to even think about equalizing. Another Widow Mine goes off, and actually one is going... No, oh, Zest trying to bait that out with the blink, doesn't get it. There is a Banshee from Bbyong here.
Yeah, there's a Banshee, a Hellion, a Medevac, and 3 Widow Mines. That's his entire supply. He has no SCVs anymore.
No, he does not. Rough. Although he does have mules, so he can build them. That's the advantage, I suppose, of being Terran. The Banshee is there, but GG's. Another warp in his Stalkers finishes it off. Holy crap, Zest is the real deal. Even Bbyong.
That was crushing, man. That was, like, really crushing. I'm actually, like... It's weird because the games today are very one-sided, whereas yesterday, like, everything was a hard-fought battle. But maybe that means that we're just going to see, like, DRG and Zest really battle for first place in this group.
That would be incredible. It would be absolutely amazing to watch. But, yeah, like you said, 2 fairly one-sided series up to this point. And I wouldn't necessarily have expected either of them to go that way. I felt that those opening matches were fairly well-balanced. And as it turns out, nope. Not even close.
Not this morning, at least.
No.
Zest just being so aggressive overall, and actually Liquid Hero being really aggressive as well. But it's not really working out for Hero, whereas Zest just made everything work out perfectly for him, even when he got scouted.
Oh man, that was a very, very crazy end to that. You know, every unit mattered. I was hoping to see that one jackpot shot with the Widow Mine that did equalize the economy up to the point where we wouldn't have seen 3 Stalker Warpins at a time, and that Banshee would have done the job. Yeah. But it never happened. Zest never allowed it to happen. He knew the Widow Mines were there. It was always 1 probe, 1 probe, 1 probe every time. He kept on top of everything, which, I mean, the amount of multitasking required, especially if you looked at his micro inside of Bbyong's base, that was mind-blowing.
Protosses have gotten really, really good at dealing with Widow Mines. You know, there was definitely a point in time where that Widow Mine drop would have killed a lot more probes and maybe even made that into some sort of crazy, almost draw scenario. But unfortunately, that is not today. That is not the present time when you see, like, the fact that the Widow Mine is in the middle of the minerals and it still kills just 1 probe, I'm like, what?
Shouldn't happen, man.
How do you do this, Zest? Come on.
Give us back that shredder that they had.
Yes, give us
Alpha.
back the shredder. That's a great idea, TotalBiscuit. I would pay to see a season of Code S with the shredder.
Oh, man. I can think of some amazing combos. If they left the Widow Mine in, here's what you do. You drop one Shredder in the mineral line, yeah? And you put one Widow Mine on either side. So as the probes run away from the Shredder, boom. So good.
My God. Oh, my God. You just broke this game that doesn't exist.
I'm very,
very
glad.
be a Terran play with Shredders and Widow Mines.
I'll dream of that tonight, I tell you. That would be such an incredible game. And I'm kind of glad that I don't balance it, because I'd like to do things like that to it. So, yep, there's a reason why I just cast and don't talk about balance. But so far, the balance of this group, the balance of power in this group, is in the hands of two very great players. Dongray Gu and Zest will be going at it in a ZVP. And that will be, of course, the next matchup. Another best of 3. Can Zest dominate this group as well, just as he has with many groups before? Or will DRG say, look, experience matters. I've been around for a long time, and I'm not going anywhere. I have this Nest T award. This was not given to me by accident. This is going to be a real fight. I hope he can. I really do. Zest is very impressive, but I don't think anyone necessarily wants to see him flatten the group that quickly.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people probably think he will, but I think DRG is going to put up a very good fight. Like, I think Zest is going to take it, but I think it's going to be a 2-1, to be honest. Like, I think it'll be reasonably close.
Very well could be. We're going to take a quick break, folks. When we come back, it will be the winner's match. Who will go through to the round of 4 to face off? It will, in fact, in first place, of course, to be to face off against CJ Hero on day 3. We'll find out after the break. Don't go anywhere.